Hello, you wonderful YouTube jewelers, young and old, new and old, experienced. I'm going to show you a little tip or trick that I've kind of discovered. I'm not sure if it's already out there and on the internet and YouTube. I haven't seen it, but anyway. All right, so I'm going to show you a little trick for fitting the bezel, and this one is it's a wonky one, so it'll be fine for fitting. It's argentium silver instead of gold plated or gold filled. And I have here a half round wire, which I am going to fit this bezel to. So here are some examples of the rings that are already made. And I still need to drill out this portion here, and this is what I'm going to show you. So when you're making the ring and you're fitting it, the bezel to the ring shank, so you're going to start with a fully formed ring already. And what I do is I solder the ring closed with hard solder, and then I use 14 karat easy or extra easy to attach the bezel. And that way I don't have to worry about the solder joint springing open, because it's been soldered with hard solder, and it's going to be cut out anyways. You're never going to see the argentium, or it's going to be buried underneath a gemstone, but you want to get rid of that central point there. So instead of putting a weak point somewhere else on the ring away from where the bezel is soldered, I put it right where the bezel is soldered. And then I know it's on a spinner ring, but you can use that technique for just if you're going to make a simple band such as this with just the bezel. Instead of putting your solder joint there, you're going to put your solder joint right in the middle there, fit your bezel to the ring shank, and then you're going to remove that central portion there. And if you're wondering why I have these bread clips on my rings, I actually do that to help them float in the vibratory tumbler, which has some green polishing husk in there. So I think that's walnut husk, and it just helps it float. So this catches the walnut a bit better. And also, if I'm making two different rings, but the ring bands are the same size or close to the same size, and I've already got them fitted to the gemstone, which I like to do before I go into the polishing phase. Then I know this one belongs to the white gemstone that I have, and this one belongs to the blue gemstone that I have. And I've got one for green and yellow and not purple, but I will mark a symbol on anything that isn't actually color coded. So this is what the ring looks like after it's done. So that's a spinner, and they all spin. Okay, so let's get started fitting. I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks for fitting your bezel to the wire. Whichever wire you're using, doesn't matter. Could be square, could be round, could be triangular, it doesn't matter. All right, stay tuned. Oh, and if you're wondering what this absolutely luscious green gemstone is, that is a chrome diopside, 4mm chrome diopside. And then it's got gold-filled wire bands. So I'm just going to use a little sample piece of the half round wire to show you how to do this. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to file in a groove into your bezel right at the halfway mark. You can see the notches there. And basically that's just going to give you some purchase on the bezel when you're going to be filing. So you can use some pliers to hold it, or you can put it into a ring clamp. I actually like using the pliers a bit better. I find that the ring clamp doesn't hold the bezel as well. So you get your file, and I'm using a triangular file here. And you're basically just going to get your saw blade notch opened up a little bit. And then you can rotate it and then hit the other side. Okay, that's a good start. So this is where you switch your profile. So we're putting it onto a round wire. So I'm going to be switching over to a round file. And what I do is I take the size of the wire. So I'm going to measure the diameter of the wire. And that is 198. Now I take my round file and I measure 198. Right about there. And then I put a little mark. You can actually see where I put the mark right there. Yeah, there it is visible. Okay, so I know that I should not be filing any further than the 198 mark here, because then otherwise it's going to become too wide to fit on the wire. So once you've got that marked, bring this down, and then your filing is going to look like this. So you're just going to get it to that point. You're not going to go all the way, but it just gives you a little bit of a guide. And I would actually stop just a bit short of that, because you can always go back and widen it out, but you can't make it thinner. So, and then switch sides. And I really should have my optivisor on because I can't see anything. What a surprise. Bezel on top of that to see how far you are. Okay, so you can see that there's still quite a bit of filing left to do there. So I'm going to continue filing, and then we're going to come back and check the fit. Okay, you can see that it's almost a perfect fit there. So again, I'm just going to keep filing a bit more until the bezel is going to be fitting or sitting directly onto the steel block here. So you're not going to see any gaps or spaces underneath that bezel. And when you've got it perfectly fitted, it's going to look like that. So that will be really easy to solder. And then, like I said, the center portion is where you're going to have your seam. So let's just pretend that your seam is underneath there, and then you're going to cut that out. And then you're left with the band solder to either side of the bezel. All right, thanks for watching.